Hello and welcome to Oh Hello Maker. Whether this is your first box or you've been crafting along with me for a while now, I know you're going to absolutely love slowing down with today's tutorial, my hand embroidered wreath. In this tutorial, I'm going to guide you through the different stitches you need to know for your wreath. Then, once you get the hang of them, you can embroider on all sorts of things. Because in your kit, you will find a piece of water-soluble stabiliser. And if you're canny with the excess, then you can go on to stitch your flowers and leaves onto clothes, bags, cushions, and even shoes. I'd absolutely love to see your progress. So if you do share anything on social, please do tag me at ohhellomaker and use the hashtag ohhellomakerbox. So what are we waiting for? Go get the kettle on, grab your snuggliest throw, and let's get into some serious cozy crafting.
Okay, so first up we're going to be learning how to do fishbone stitch. So you want to bring the needle up at the very point and bring it not halfway down but just above. Then bring your needle out just to the right of that first stitch and then pull it through just below. And then you carry on inserting the needle just to the right and then finding a spot in the centre just beneath the last stitch. And you keep working like this and it creates a sort of spine down the centre of the leaf. And now we're going to do stem stitch. So bring your needle up at, let's call it point A, and then insert it a little way, we'll call that point B, and then don't pull the thread all the way through, hold it with your finger, and then bring the needle up in the middle of point A and B, and then pull on the thread. So we'll do that again. So hold it with your finger, bring the needle up and then pull. And then you keep doing that for as long as you need to. Now this is straight stitch. It's probably the most simple stitch in embroidery. So you pull up at point A and insert at point B in a straight stitch. Again, bring it up and then do a straight stitch. Here we have satin stitch. Satin stitch is just a collection of straight stitches which are stitched very, very close to one another. So when they're all stitched, it kind of gives the impression of it being a flat satin surface. So if you notice a gap between your stitches, just simply add one in between. And then you can fill shapes quite easily using this stitch. And now onto the French knots. So pull up your needle where you want the French knot to go, and you want to twist the thread tightly around the needle. Here I'm doing it twice, and then you insert the needle back through the same hole that you came up and then pull it through. Here I'm going to twist it around the needle once, twice, 3 times and back through the same hole. This will give a slightly bigger French knot. And then here, 3, 4, and then back through. So this is an even bigger knot because we've twisted it round 4 times. And then here, a really teeny tiny one, just twisting it round once. This is fly stitch. So bring your needle up at point A and take it through at point B. Hold it again with your finger like we did with stem stitch. Then bring the needle back up at the point where you want the bottom of the V to go, and then simply do a straight stitch. Here I'll show you a double fly stitch. So I did a single straight stitch. Again, bring the needle up at point A, insert at point B, don't let it go all the way through. Then bring the needle up at the base of that V. Then I'm just going to do a little straight stitch. And one last time. And there you go. And the final stitch I'm going to be showing you is the woven wheel, and this is how we create the roses. So you want to make an odd number of straight stitches around the circle. So here I've got 5, but actually I probably could have done 7. Then bringing the needle up at the base of one of those stitches. Pull it all the way through, and then you want to thread the needle underneath one of those stitches, the next stitch. Then you want to go over that one, so we ignore that, and then under that one. So you alternate over and then under. Okay, under that one, over and under. And you keep repeating this until you've created a lovely raised rose. Obviously, the bigger the rose, the longer it takes, and also the more thread you'll need. And those are our stitches. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to unscrew your hoop. Place the smaller hoop on the table and then put the linen fabric over it. Then place on the larger hoop on top and tighten up the screw. Turn the hoop over and pull on the fabric all the way around. You want that fabric nice and taut. You can try tapping it, it should sound like a drum. Now, if you haven't done so already, you want to trace off the motif from the back of your instruction manual onto the water-soluble stabiliser. I'd recommend using biro, but pencil can work too, it just doesn't show up as much. Then cut the piece down and pin it to your fabric. We're going to be doing the green leaves first. So you want to thread your needle with 3 strands of the green embroidery thread. Then fill the leaf using fishbone stitch. So we do that first central stitch, part of the way down, and then do a stitch to the right of it, and then to the left of it, working your way all the way down the green leaf. Now, I know you can see that the little leaves have been done already, but ignore that because we're going to work the little leaves now. I decided to show this second because they're a little bit more fiddly. So now we're going to work fishbone stitch onto the smaller leaves. And there's only one of these on this wreath. So still using 3 strands of green embroidery thread in your needle, you want to work the small branches with stem stitch. And then single straight stitches for each twig. And there's 4 of those to do on this wreath. You now need to thread your needle with 4 strands of green embroidery thread and work the 2 main sections of the wreath with stem stitch again. And that's us finished with the green thread. Now thread your needle with 3 strands of the burgundy thread and use satin stitch to fill the centre of the 2 large petal flowers. Now once you've done the centre of those 2 flowers, you want to work the petals using that beautiful teal embroidery thread, using satin stitch again. We're now going to create the French knots that go onto those little green branches we created earlier. So there's going to be a teal knot on the end of each one, and we're going to be wrapping the thread around the needle either 2 or 3 times. You can mix it up a bit by having 4 strands of embroidery thread and just wrapping it round twice. It's up to you. It just adds a bit of interest if the knots are slightly different sizes. And that's us finished with the teal thread. Now thread your needle with 3 strands of the burgundy thread and stem stitch along the main sections of the branches. There are 3 of these in our wreath. You then want to use 2 strands to work stem stitch along the smaller branches. You now want to thread your needle with 3 strands of the mustard embroidery thread and work the small leaves with fishbone stitch as we did before. On the top 3 leaves on our wreath, work fly stitch just at the base of them. And then you can add a few French knots too. Thread your needle with 3 strands of the pale pink thread. Then add 5 straight stitches around the flower. You want to have an odd number of stitches because we're going to be working the woven wheel stitch. So once you've got your odd number of stitches, you want to alternate going over a stitch and then under a stitch and over the stitch and under a stitch. And you'll see this raised flower developing. You then want to create some smaller roses in both the pale pink and the mustard, just using 2 strands of embroidery thread. With your needle still threaded with pale pink, Work 3 straight stitches from the centre of the large petal flowers, just to break up that burgundy. Then with your needle threaded with 3 or 2 strands of burgundy embroidery thread, fill the flowers with French knots. Our larger flowers have 2 to 3 knots, while the smaller ones just have 1. And that's your main wreath design complete. So you want to remove all of the pins from the stabiliser and carefully snip off the excess. Please be careful not to snip into any of those stitches. Then unscrew the hoop and take out the fabric. Now you can either place the fabric into a bowl of cold water, as I'm doing here, or you can simply hold it under a running tap. You want to gently rub away the stabiliser with your finger. It does come away very easily. And gently wring the fabric out. Once all the stabiliser has gone, you want to leave it to dry overnight. So dab off any excess water and leave it to dry. Finally, you want to add a few straight stitches with 2 strands of pale pink to create little stars. And some tiny little French knots here, there and everywhere around the design, mainly focusing on the 2 ends of the wreath to create a little bit of sparkly magic. Then all that's left to do is snip away the excess fabric. You can tuck it just inside the hoop and stick it down, and you can actually hang your embroidery on the wall in the hoop as it works as a frame. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please do share any pictures on social. Don't forget to tag me, Oh Hello Maker, and I will see you again soon.